Hi, welcome back to the Weekly Why. This week we have Parsha Pinchas. We're closing up on the book of Numbers, the book of Bamidbar, and Pinchas is very interesting. A lot of things to talk about. One of the things, obviously, is that at the end of last Parsha, we had a fellow. He is an Israelite, Pinchas, and what happens is he sees a man from the tribe of Shimon, basically another Jew. And this man is basically doing a number of things. He's committing idolatry, and he's also doing this with a Midianite woman. Basically, he's committing one of the worst things, which is idolatry, and he's doing this with a Midianite woman as well. And what he does is he kills both of them. Okay? Now, what happens is that as a result, God bestows upon him. This is how this parsha begins. Last parsha, he killed this man, this Israelite, and this woman. And in this parsha, it begins with God giving Pinchas a reward. And that reward, he says to him, "Behold, I give him a covenant of peace." Okay? Very strange thing. Why would somebody who just killed not one but two people be given a covenant of peace? Okay? You can say, yes, well, the sin of this man, it would have caused so many other things, so he kind of nipped it in the bud. Well, sure, you could say it was a surgical action, but you can't really say it was peaceful. Maybe he avoided further bloodshed, but it'd be kind of a stretch to say that it was peaceful, okay? So one of the ideas behind this is that basically everything that you do, it helps to kind of acclimatize you to doing that kind of an action. So, for example, the Sefer HaChinuch, the Book of Education, one of the Jewish, it's Jewish thought on how to, on education, on going through the mitzvahs. Basically, it says that a child, every person, is impacted by the actions he does. In other words, if you get up in the morning and you are, a short-tempered person, a bitter person, a rude person, that will become your personality, because that's just invariably, it becomes ingrained into you, and that's just who you become. And so what here is that, what the lesson is that ultimately, Pinchas, in any other action, what he did would be criminal, it would be illegal, and it would be totally against the law. Not just against secular law, obviously, but certainly against Torah law. What he did was, he killed two people. That's certainly not allowed, typically. And so what happens is that, why on earth is this man given a reward of peace? Because the whole idea here is that what he did, technically speaking, is right. Okay? Technically speaking, what he did was, it's descriptive, it's not prescriptive. In other words, what he did, it's not something that other people should take too much of a lesson from, in the sense that if you see something, you should go out killing people. But yes, strictly speaking, in that situation, yes, he did what was necessary. But he was given this blessing of peace, not because what he did was peaceful or even inherently peaceful. The point of it is that regardless of what intentions he did, okay, he could have retained that stain of bloodshed, right? So what happens is that he could have retained that stain of bloodshed, and he could have become kind of somebody to say, you know what, this feels kind of good, or this kind of becomes his personality, where if he sees something he doesn't like, he may lash out, or he may do something murderous, okay? So the idea here is that basically God rewarded Pinchas with an added measure of protection, saying that, you know what, you and your children are going to become Kohanim, the students and heirs of Aaron, who is the first Kohen, okay? And in Pirkei Avot, we're taught about the Kohanim, that basically they pursue peace and they love peace, they bring people together and they bring them closer to Torah. So basically, this covenant of peace brings Pinchas and his descendants closer to peace. So what that means basically is that as a result of him doing these violent, although not wrong things, but they certainly are violent, what he's done is that his reward is to say, you know what, you're going to be put in a situation where only you can do, you have this blessing of peace, where you're going to love the Jewish people, you're going to reach out to the Jewish people, that's all you're going to do. And as a result, you're not going to be used to that killing of human beings anymore. You're going to be used to only doing acts of kindness and goodness to others. So again, the lesson for us, really the take-home lesson, is that if there's a character trait we're trying to work on, if there's something we're trying to develop, not just a character trait, but any kind of, maybe we're trying to get up in the morning to go to shul, maybe we're trying to daven 3 times a day, maybe we're trying to make sure to do all the brachas, maybe we're trying to, be careful not to cut people off in traffic, whatever it is. The fact is, they say fake it till you make it. And what that means is basically once you do something and you kind of become used to it, it's not so hard to see yourself doing it consistently. And so that's the take-home message for us, is that if there's something we're really trying to get around or trying to grow, the point is that try doing it again and again, even if we're not totally there yet, just to kind of get yourself used to it, because the more we get ourselves used to it, the more likely we are to ultimately be comfortable with doing it. So that's it for Parshat Pinchas. Best wishes, Shabbat Shalom, God bless.